Welcome to A Peek Inside. I'm Robert Batista, a student in the Broadcast and Electronic Media Department at Pikes Peak State College. This program takes you inside the events, careers, and lives of people in and around the Pikes Peak region. Our guest today is Dave Noblitt. He worked as a firefighter for 40 years before retiring in 2021. What inspired you to become a firefighter?
Actually, it was a trip to a fire station when I was in grade school. And then actually in 1980, there was a large fire at the MGM Grand Hotel in Las Vegas, which is where I grew up. And a lot of construction workers actually contributed and supported the initial arriving companies on that fire. And construction is what I did. And I thought, if those guys can do it, it might be something that I might be able to do it as well.
So you were doing construction at the time?
Correct.
Wait, when was this? How old were you when this happened?
So I just turned 20 years old.
Gotcha. And you were working in construction when fire in Las Vegas, you said?
Right, it was at the MGM Grand Hotel, which was a fairly significant fire in 1980. So they were actually building an extension to the hotel, and the construction workers literally tore down the scaffolding that they were using, moved it over to the building that was involved, rebuilt the scaffolding, and saved people's lives off of the lower floors.
Wow.
It was impressive, yeah.
That's cool. And so you saw that and you thought you could do that too, right?
Well, it inspired me to the fact that it was something that I could do, or I've done, as far as construction work, and obviously I had a passion as well to try to help other people, so the fit just kind of seemed to come natural.
Gotcha. Wow, that's awesome. Okay. Well, how'd you get started in your career?
Well, because I hadn't had much education at that time outside of graduating from high school, a friend of mine suggested that I might look into the military, in which I did. And so I looked around at the different branches of the military and realized that the Air Force was the fire school that the majority of the services sent their folks to go train at. So I figured that it was a great way, since I didn't have the financial budget to be able to afford college on my own, to pursue a career by getting my experience, my training through the military.
Gotcha. Okay, would you advise other people to go that way as well, or?
Well, it's everybody's kind of their choice. I mean, going to and through an educational system to get a foundation, you know, I'm actually an alumni of Pikes Peak State College to get a fire science degree. So military or education, either one will definitely get you on the road.
Gotcha. Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. We are unfortunately out of time for this segment, so I will see you guys after the commercial break.
If disaster shows up at your doorstep, you can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan before they show up. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
Let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes!
Make a plan today.
I am what hunger looks like in America.
I am an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for the last day of school. Because this may be the last time I'll have lunch. Till September.
I am a single father of 2 who works 3 part-time jobs,
and that's still not enough to put food on the table.
I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Stand it precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to learn the difference between sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Go find those rocks. Dare to keep daring. Dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get started.
Welcome back to A Peek Inside. I'm Robert Batista from the Broadcasting and Electronic Media Department at Pikes Peak State College. We're joined today by David Noblitt. Can you share with us a memorable experience or a rescue that stands out from your time as a firefighter?
Well, interestingly enough, after 40 years, actually one of the most fun rescues that we did, and I was on a specialty unit for a number of years, and we have all sorts of equipment that's in addition to the regular firefighting equipment. But we had a report of a small child that had fallen into basically a large pole hole that they were digging to put the foundation for the structure in place. And they didn't cordon the area off safely enough, or as children being children, they were kind of messing around it and fell into the hole. And so we arrived on scene and found a young person at the bottom of the hole, probably 8 feet down, 7, 8 feet down. They weren't injured. His friends were around. And so we really contemplated if we should use a tripod lift, if we should set up a rope system, if we needed any additional resources. And finally one of us just looked at each other and just said, how about I hold on to you and we'll just reach down there and grab the little one.
Like a human ladder?
We literally, just flipped me upside down, and basically the guys were hanging on to my feet. I reached down, grabbed them, we pulled it back up, and outside of what could have been an overly complicated rescue to put in all the necessary equipment, we just simply grabbed them and we were on our way. And of course the little one was definitely shook up about being at the bottom of the hole. So we got checked out by medical, everything was great, but it was kind of interesting. You get called to something that you think is going to really be intense, and it's almost to a cartoon state where you're literally holding somebody upside down to grab them and pull them back up. So as many as the different technical rescues that we went through, that was definitely kind of one that was just simply fun.
Yeah, so you were at the bottom then. You were the one who grabbed them, but everyone else holding you down.
Well, I was just hanging upside down, right, yeah. So they just kind of lowered me into the hole and grabbed the little one and brought him back up.
That's awesome. What? So no one was like, oh, this maybe we shouldn't do this. Everyone was on board with it right away, or did you have any pushback? Or?
Yeah, probably because we didn't have a lot of overhead or supervision at that point in time. It was just within the crew. Our crew worked incredibly well together. We bounced ideas off of each other, and like I said, we just kind of came to the simple answer of we're sitting around wasting a lot of time trying to figure out what system we're going to go with. Let's just grab them and go with it. So we felt the stability of the situation was significant or sufficient enough for us to be able to perform that maneuver, so that's what we went for.
Gotcha. That's awesome. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's okay. So what would you say were the biggest challenges that you faced while you were on duty as an active firefighter, and how'd you get past those?
Well, I would say that within firefighting, you work through whatever it is that is in front of you. There is no B team or that are behind you that can basically come in and fill in for what your challenges that you face that you need to accomplish. If you can't accomplish it, there's really no backup plan outside of the backup plan. I drove fire trucks for a lot of time, so I'd say one of probably the most challenging things, especially in Colorado, obviously is the weather. Because regardless of whatever the conditions were outside, when the bells went off, we responded. And so to that point, some of the driving conditions, obviously with the roadways that we had, were a challenge in addition to whatever we were to find once we showed up on the scene. So because of the weather conditions, it definitely, when those days showed up, my stress level also went up a little bit because I knew that I had the additional responsibility of making sure that my crew got to the location where we were called to safely, and we obviously were making sure that the public was safe as well within our response.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay, yeah, gotcha. This is unfortunately all the time we have for this segment, so we will be right back after this very short commercial break.
With her neighborhood, but one day she's unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out.
Pikes Peak Community College is a wonderful place for all students. Students from all over the world attend classes at PPCC and are enrolled in a variety of degree programs. From zoology to radio and television, students have all the necessary resources available to succeed, no matter their degree path. Qualified advisors are available to guide students down the necessary path every step of the way. Students succeed at PPCC.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home.
Welcome back to A Peek Inside. I'm Robert Batista from the Broadcasting and Electronic Media Department at Pikes Peak State College. We're joined today again by David Noblitt. So, how has firefighting evolved over the years from when you first started to today?
Well, as all things, right? Things were a little bit simpler when I began my career in 1981. I think that the technology that's out there right now, as far as the equipment, is amazing. The fires themselves are actually increased in temperature and are a lot more difficult to fight just because of the type of materials that are burning. They call it like old school, new school. So the older fabrics were made up of wood and cotton, things that typically didn't generate a lot of heat or spread fire very rapidly within a structure. And now we have a lot of polyesterines and plastics and carpeting and so forth that are generate a lot more British thermal units, or the amount of heat that comes off of them, and the fire spread itself is also a lot faster. So those challenges press the industry to respond with the appropriate amount of equipment that's improved as well, so that we have a better to actually fight against those threats as they increase.
Gotcha. Okay, so fires have been getting worse, but also so has our equipment. It's making better. So
right.
Would you say it's kind of like easier now, or?
Well, I would say a lot of the new challenges, so let's, for instance, like the automobile or vehicle accidents that occur on the roadways, the broad spectrum of the vehicles that we have because of like electronic vehicles that are coming into play, and if those vehicles catch on fire, how to approach that by comparison to what it was 40 years ago. We definitely didn't have the variety of the type of vehicles that were out there, or the different types of fuels. So today is a lot more challenging just because there's a lot different and a broader spectrum of challenges that we find, like when you simply just go out on the roadway and think about the number of people who can get into an automobile accident.
Gotcha. Okay. So, in your opinion, what qualities make a great firefighter beyond just physical strength and bravery?
Well, I wouldn't even say those are really a primary consideration. It's actually a desire to put other people's needs above yourself. It really comes down to that. Because in a lot of ways, just even living within the fire station, you live with 3, 4, 6, 7 different people depending on the type of company and firehouse that you have, either single company or double company, so 1 or 2 apparatus.
Gotcha.
So you need to learn to live with other people like family. So there's give and take within the firehouse, right? So that you remain in a good relationship with those folks as you go out the door, because you're going to need to trust in them to face the challenges that you're going to see in front of you. And once you do go out the door, you want to have a heart that basically puts the interest of others above yourself, so that when they're calling us, they're typically having the worst day of their lives. We're there to rectify that problem. And sometimes that takes a challenge of giving yourself to a significant degree to make sure that you try to do something better for somebody else.
Awesome, thank you. Well, that's all the time we have for A Peek Inside. I'd like to thank our guest, Dave Noblitt. I'm Robert Batista, student in the Broadcast and Electronic Media Department at Pikes Peak State College. For more information on this program, you can go to pikespeak.edu/BEM. Thank you so much for tuning in.